morning, everybody. Thank you so much for attending today's candidate forum featuring the candidates running for the Board of School District 54. My name is Vicki Martin, and I'm the forum chairman of the League of Women Voters of the Palatine, Barrington, and Schaumburg areas, which also includes Inverness, Hoffman Estates, and Rolling Meadows. So we cover a large number of communities here in the northwest suburbs. Founded 100 years ago here in Chicago, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that neither supports, opposes, or recommends candidates for office. The League was founded in order to help educate and inform the new female voters who had just won the right to vote. The League's purpose is to promote civic responsibility through the informed and active participation of all citizens. Providing this forum enables members of the community to become better informed about the issues facing their community and for the candidates running for office. We're pleased to offer this service to you. Before we go any further, as a way to remind ourselves why we're all here and that regardless of our individual political views, we are all Americans, please rise, remove your hats, and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here's some general information that we want to share with you before we begin. Today's forum will be recorded for the League of Women Voters' use in educating the public. A video of this forum will be available early next week on the League website and the Schaumburg Library website. All the candidates have agreed to this. No campaign signs, buttons, or partisan materials are allowed in the room. No voice, image, or other duplication of the forum may be used by the candidates, representatives, or the campaigns in any campaign advertising, although the candidates are free to share the link to the website with their friends and supporters. The League of Women Voters claims copyright ownership of all recordings or transcripts produced from this event and reserves the right to publicize this forum. All audience members are hereby advised that their image may appear in the forum video or in photographs of the forum. To view the forum, please go to the League website, www.lwvpalatinearea.org. We want to thank you all for taking the time to attend this forum. In order to help us stay within our time limits and out of respect for the candidates and your fellow audience members, we ask that you please hold your applause until the end of the forum. No questions will be taken from the floor. No interruptions, heckling, or other disruptions will be tolerated. We'd like to extend our sincerest thanks to Christopher Corrigan, Adult Program Coordinator, and Stephanie Driscoll, Director of Programs and Outreach for the Schaumburg Township District Library, and the library staff, including Frank, the tech god, in the back. We could not do this without all of them. I'm pleased to introduce our moderator for today's forum, Kim Inman. Kim is a member of the League of Women Voters of the Palatine, Barrington, and Schaumburg area. Kim has been trained by the League of Women Voters and has moderated many forums, so we're very happy that she's able to be with us this morning. Kim.
Thanks, Vicki. Good morning. As a resident of Palatine, I'm not eligible to vote in this election, so I am moderating. I've been asked to serve as an impartial moderator. Excuse me. Let me take a couple of minutes to go over the rules and the format. All the candidates were contacted by mail, email, or phone and have agreed to abide by our ground rules. These are the ground rules. Candidates have drawn numbers to determine their speaking order. I'll rotate this order during the forum questions. Each candidate will answer each question. As you can see, the way they're seated. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the order drawn. We're going to start with Ms. first. The candidates' answers will be timed by a group of timers trained by the League. They're right there in the front row. They're going to hold up a sign indicating how much time each candidate has left. Yeah, you already raised your signs. Candidates, you see them. All right, great. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. Next, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer questions. And I'll be happy to repeat the questions if necessary. Candidates will be giving 30-second and 15-second warnings, so please quickly complete your thoughts and try to answer before the stop card shows up. Time limits will be enforced out of respect for all of our candidates. If needed, a rebuttal may be requested. Each candidate may use a maximum of 2 rebuttals, and each candidate has rebuttal cards that they can hold up if they'd like a rebuttal on another candidate's answer. Finally, each candidate will have a 1-minute closing statement. Questions have been submitted by audience members at the time of registration, by the candidates, and by local civic organizations. Questions have been reviewed for clarity, appropriateness, and to avoid duplication. We've done our best to ensure that the questions are free of inherent bias. Candidates have been asked not to interrupt each other. Today we're going to hear from 5 candidates hoping to serve on the District 54 School Board. With us today and on the ballot and in our starting order today. You know, we're going to be casual. We're going to go by first names, but I didn't clarify how to pronounce everybody's last name. Nick Scipione?
Scipione, very good.
Hey, all right, all right. And then we have Bob Kaplan. We have Sarah DeCubo? Yes. Oh, all right, Sarah DeCubo, Debbie Schmidt, and Jim Pye. All right, those are our candidates. Thank you all for coming this morning. We'll begin with your 2-minute opening statements with our number 1 draw, Nick.
Thank you so much. And I know my children and Gianna back in the room would love to have that stop sign because I'm talking to them. But thank you so much to the league. I have some feedback here. Thank you so much to. Oh, now we lost that. Hello, hello. All right, we'll go with this guy. 1 sec, Frank.
Watch for feedback.
We need Frank?
Well, I used to do Frank's job here, so I How about that? Better? Okay. Thank you again to the League of Women Voters, especially on this. We're in trouble, Frank, again. We got it. Especially on this International Women's Day. I especially appreciate the strong women in my life. If not for my wife and mother and grandmother who are all still alive and giving me the advice, and my mother-in-law was here today, I'd be nowhere, so thank you. I grew up in District 54, 211 schools, Benedictine University, Bachelor's of Science and Master's degree, and I'm honored to be here and running for District 54. I was a member of the Schaumburg Township District Library Board here as well, and worked at this library. Also honored to be on the Planning Commission for the Village of Schaumburg, and those community groups and those government groups are very important to have those connections when you're on the board. I'm honored to be an incumbent right now with my fellow trustees that are board members that are up here and current vice president of the board. One of the most proud aspects of my bio is 2 students at Campanelli right now, and a proud parent to be on that board. So my main advocacy for running is to ensure that we have a comprehensive and equitable education for all of our students, fiscal responsibility for our taxpayer dollars, and making sure we have safe, secure learning environments for all of our students and staff. So it's an honor to run with our team today that are 4 incumbents, and you'll be able to hear from us. So thank you.
Thank you, Nick. All right, next up is Bob Kaplan.
Thank you, and Nick, I'm glad you went first because it reminded me how short this time is. First of all, and I'll take time doing the same things, thank you to the League of Women Voters, Marilyn McCarthy, I can't read my own writing, that's nothing new, who is the lady who helped set this up, and Ms. Inman for doing the moderation. I'm Bob Kaplan, and I'm an incumbent board member who has been elected twice and appointed twice to this Board of Education. You can say that education is my family business because many of you probably know my 3 sisters taught in District 54. Luckily, my wife is a retired teacher and AD in another district. And of course, I can't forget my children. My twin boys are special ed high school teachers, and my daughter is an instructional coach after teaching in elementary classrooms for, I don't know, about 7 or 10 years. I don't know. I lose track of time sometime. Revising my words, it's already tight. 2 of my 6 grandchildren go to District 54 schools, and that's probably the happiest thing I can tell you. One is now a 7th grader. In fact, I get to see her in a play tonight. She looks like she's already in high school, which bothers her grandpa pretty much, and a grandson to Campanelli in 5th. I still believe public schools are the great equalizer for our students. We are now firmly a minority-majority district. District 54 has been recognized for many programs, both inside and outside our district. Besides our excellent teaching staff, students are supported by instructional coaches and math and literacy and other support people. And I'm waiting for the next sign to go up. And there we go. Okay, additional opportunities are always available with clubs and after-school activities. The board has been really supportive of the Early Childhood Center, and with more than 700 students in there every year, we run out of space every year. We have been working upgrading, and I gotta wrap it up. I'll tell you a lot more in the questions, and of course, I'll have more for you in the conclusion. Thank you, and have a great day, and thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bob. Sarah?
Good morning. My name is Sarah Dokubo. Thank you again to the League of Women Voters for hosting this and all of you for coming out. A little bit about me. I'm a former special education teacher and I now work for a nonprofit that focuses on implementing inclusive and accessible practices for students with disabilities. I'm also a mom to 2 little ones. My oldest is almost 4, so he'll be in kindergarten, not next year, but the year after. And also, I was born and raised here in Schaumburg. I attended District 54 schools. I went to Collins, I went to Keller Junior High, graduated from Conant, and it was actually an experience I had as a 2nd grader that motivated me to want to run. I'm going to share that real quick. I remember being in class, raising my hand, teacher called on me and gave my answer, and she was like, oh, not quite yet, and had this like sudden embarrassment of getting the answer wrong. Thought the whole class was laughing. I'm sure in hindsight it was like 1 person, 2 persons, maybe no one. But from that moment on, it really impacted my confidence. I remember looking around and being like, no one in the class looks like me. No one in the class has a family like me. This was the 90s and 2000s in Schaumburg. My dad's an immigrant from Nigeria. My mom is a white farm girl from Central Illinois. There's not a lot of mixed and biracial families in the district at that time. So it impacted my confidence and sense of belonging, and never again, like middle school, high school, college, I was never the 1st, 2nd, or even 3rd, 10th person to raise my hand in class. And so that motivated me to want to be a teacher and be a role model for kids that look like myself. And so that is, again, why I'm running. So when I moved back here to raise my kids in the district, I knew I wanted to make sure that not only them, but all of our families, all of our students had that chance to experience a sense of belonging from the first moment they walk in the classroom. And so that's why I'm running. I'm excited to talk with everybody today and hear what we have to say, and I'm hoping I will have your vote on April 1st. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Debbie?
Good morning. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for facilitating this forum today so we can share a little bit about ourselves and our experiences as we run for school board. Good morning, and again, my name is Debbie Schmidt. I'm an incumbent member of the board, just finishing my first 4-year term and pursuing re-election to my 2nd term. I'm a proud parent of 3 District 54 and School District 211 alumni, and my husband Eric and I have lived in the district for 22 years. I have a passion for giving back to the community. I grew up understanding the value of service, and my career has spanned various roles, all in the nonprofit industry, so the importance of volunteerism stands front and center in my value system. When I decided to run for school board in 2021, I was excited about the opportunity, but have to admit I was a bit intimidated about building my knowledge base to become a strong board member and contribute to a very well-developed school board team. Almost 4 years later, I can say I'm a transparent and authentic member of the team, and together we bring such different lenses to each discussion and find our way to one voice as a board. In 2021, as I joined, the challenges of COVID restrictions and pressures of online learning and online teaching illustrate the strength and grit of School District 54, the board, the superintendent, the district, and the building teams. It was truly an honor to sit with 6 other committed board members who found so many ways to support School District 54 staff in making difficult decisions and to consider the needs of those families, students, and staff at the center of our discussions. Fast forward to now, we've returned to pre-COVID achievement levels and have big plans to prepare School District 54 for any future threats and all future opportunities. I hope to provide insights today that will encourage attendees to make time to vote and grant me 1 more term to continue our good work.
Hi, Jim. Hi.
Well, everybody, okay here? Everybody welcome, friends, neighbors, community members, concerned voters. I'm honored to be here. Who is Jim Pye? I'm a husband of Carol for the last 35 years. I'm a father of 2 students that graduated from the system. I'm a grandfather of 4. I'm a 60-year resident of Schaumburg Township. I've been a public servant for 45 years, including my service as a coach, Sunday school teacher, a youth group host, and a board member. Again, I'm a product of the system. My children are a product of the system. I went to Harper. I went to University of Illinois, got a master's civil engineering degree. I went to Northern, I got a master's degree in business. And in summary, at the end of who I am, I'm also the president of the board. I've served for 8 years, and I'm seeking a 3rd term. So why am I running? I want to keep District 54 one of the best in the state. Stanford University published a study in the New York Times, and they said that District 54 was one of the top districts, the top 2% in the country. I want to continue that. When you look at state standards and state proficiency rates, we're 40% above state standards in proficiency in English and 60% above state proficiency rates in math. Mayor Daley recently published a survey in Schaumburg. The Schaumburg survey came out about 2 weeks ago. It's 39 pages long. And the satisfaction rate in our schools in Schaumburg Township was nearly 90%. So the voters really like our schools. And it's much higher than the national benchmark. So I'm really proud that our district currently has no debt. And I'm going to close on this. It's very important that we run schools that are safe. We want them safe for our students. We want them safe for all our teachers. And a student sent this to me about 2 months ago. And I'm proud of this. It says, "Thank you for making our schools safe, Mr. Pye." So, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for your opening statements. We're going to move on to the questions now, and each of you will have 1 minute to answer each question. First question, and Bob is going to be our first answerer on this question. We'll be alternating. All right, first question. All right, each of the positions you're running for, as your incumbents know, is a part-time job. Do you have another full-time job? And if so, how will you accommodate the responsibilities of being on the board? How do you do it?
Well, I don't have a full-time job right now because I am a retired principal and teacher, and I am active in other volunteer jobs. I'm a committee chair for another nonprofit organization, so that keeps me busy. But really, most of my time is spent outside the school district with my grandchildren, my 6 grandchildren, and other volunteer opportunities. I balance my time by, whenever I have a chance, I go out into the schools, and I'm pretty active in visiting schools and meeting with both teachers and students. And also I meet with other board members and also the administration to do it. I would spend about 20 hours a week easily on my board duties. In fact, we just got the board packet yesterday at about 4 o'clock. I've done 1 read-through already, and I'll do a couple more before the week's out. So that takes me a great deal of time to check on things like the budget and other wonderful things that I do every time.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Time. That's Sarah.
I'm trying to get this done. Okay, I will talk it here. Yes, I have a full-time job. Like I mentioned, I work at an education nonprofit. I do work remote, and I don't really travel too much for work, so I have a lot of privilege with that. I would say to accommodate the responsibilities of this role, I have an amazing husband. Actually, I'm very proud that he does all the cooking, the grocery shopping, a lot of the typical wife duties, and so I rely on him, leverage him, and he's a great father and can watch our 2 young children. I also moved back to be closer to my parents, who I'm a half a mile from where I grew up. My 18-year-old self is very frustrated about that, but they are also really hands-on and can help. I think also about the role of a school board member. It is about a team, 1 of 7 people, so our responsibilities can be spread across everyone, and we have team members like Bob who maybe take on some more at certain times of the year if I'm really having a lot of kid or family responsibilities. I also would mention my strength is in planning my time. My mom instilled that in me very well growing up, so I'm really good at getting the kids to bed, coming home, and then in the evenings doing what I need to do. So I think I could definitely accommodate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie?
Yes, I do have a full-time job. I work in healthcare for a local, very large health system. And what's what's neat about working for the health system is they honor and encourage community involvement. There's actually a need for nonprofits in the healthcare arena to provide community benefit hours. So I'm a member of the local Rotary Club. I've been in that club for over 20 years. My employer has supported that. They're very well aware. I work with School District 54, and they're huge partners with School District 54. So in terms of timing, I feel that the superintendent makes very good use of organizing our time, really getting us focused for those board meetings and special meetings. And then in terms of visiting schools, I can sneak that in the evenings. I'm an empty nester with 3 grown children, and it's just been a pleasure. We do have a couple of retired members on the board who are providing more face time, but all of us have the opportunity to contribute in our own ways to make sure that we've got that strong board presence.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, I retired July 1st of last year. It's wonderful. And this gives me more time now to serve our community. And part of what we do isn't just attending board meetings, it's being the face of the community. So like Bob and like our team, we try to get out at certain events. So recently I was at a wonderful multicultural event at Aldman School. About 2-3 weeks ago, I was at a history fair at Meade. So we have PTA scholarship dinners. We have a Run to Read program. Veterans Day, I see some veterans in the audience here. We had a wonderful Veterans Day at some of our schools. And so it's important that we're seen. I'm also seen in the community now as I campaign for this office again. It's so wonderful to be out knocking on the door. They're probably knocking about 2,000 doors. So it's just important that we listen to the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm a full-time science teacher and department chair at Glenbard East High School, and 21 years in education, and seeing boards work at different levels, it takes a ton of time, and it is something that you have to commit to. As Bob said, those board packets in 54 take time. You have to do your research. You have to show up in the community. You have to show that you're listening and you care, and you have the ability to be that strong one voice of 7 that's informed, right? That's through multiple organizations like Illinois Association of School Boards, right? And you have to show up in the meetings. But at the same time, it's a family piece. So as we talked about, my wife is amazing that allows myself to have this time to be with the kids, and it's for my students, my children. That's why I'm doing this, and having that ability. Community work is really important. My Knights of Columbus brothers are here too. We're showing we're caring for folks in the community, right? So there's an event today, if you have time, multicultural event at the CRC. Get out there, because we'll be there.
Thank you. Okay, we'll on to our next question, and Sarah is going to be first to answer. Who are your campaign's 3 largest donors besides yourself, people or organizations, and what is your relationship to them?
I'm trying to think. I think my largest donation is $150 from my husband's frat brother. He went to Dayton University, so we are good friends with them. I think my next one are a couple $100 donations from former coworkers that I taught with. So one's still a 4th grade teacher in Alabama right now, and one is an assistant principal of a school in New Orleans. So all of mine have been like family and friend donations. Again, the largest is $150. Most I'd say are $25 or $50 donations, and I'm really proud to again be supported by family and friends in this journey. Again, running against amazing incumbents and just entering this race, and again taking it all as a learning experience. But no organizations have donated, just family and friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie?
I actually have not received any personal donations, but as a endorsed board team, our unions have been able to contribute toward campaign support.
Thank you. Jim?
So I've not asked for $1 from anybody. And it's interesting that there's friends in the audience, there's elected officials that have come up and says, we'd like to contribute to your campaign. So we've done it to our general campaign fund. So again, I've not received $1 from anybody, but I do thank the people in the audience and elected officials that said, hey, we want to write a check, and friends out in the audience. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm proud of the fact that most of the donations come from individuals my way and educators, right? And so, I've been on both sides of the table on the education conversation in terms of campaign finance. And the number one piece there is this is what's best for students, not what's best for one stakeholder group. This is what's best for students, right? This is best for our community, and that is what the conversation is around, around the table of campaign finance in my mind.
Thank you. Bob?
I have one donor so far for 150. However, I share, just like was pointed out by the other people on the slate, we've been endorsed, and people that very much care about education, the teachers in the district, and they have contributed, and so we have gotten that money.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next question, Debbie is going to go first. What is your key issue, and how will your focus on that issue affect your constituents?
The key issue I have is a broad issue, and that is long-term planning direction for School District 54. We have a wonderful history, and we want to continue that, but there are some forces that we're seeing, and we're really working with our superintendent to look at strategic direction. Enrollment seems to be pretty flat. We look at these birth rate studies and such, so our kindergarten class is smaller than our 8th grade class, but there's other forces in terms of additional student needs. So many of you know that the special ed programs at 54 are destination programs. People move into the state and into Schaumburg to get that comprehensive level of support. Another piece that we're seeing are all these newcomer families from various countries around the world who come in with a ton of needs, not just from a curriculum standpoint, but socially. So how are we going to balance all those needs and stay the top tier educational program that we are today?
Thank you. Jim, your 1 minute starts now.
So I'm not a single issue candidate. I'm very fiscally prudent, and why? Because then we can spend money in the classroom on our students. As I said earlier, I want to keep District 54 the great institution that it is. And when I knock on 2,000 doors in the community, it's amazing when I see parents and grandparents and products of the system and students, and they look at me, that I care enough to knock on their doors, and they look at awe of our district. So our district is fantastic, and I will do everything I can to keep it in that top 2% in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
So I agree with Mr. Pye, there's many important issues, but to me, the ones that bubble up to the top, teaching and learning, right? What is that learning experience for our students? Do we have a high expectation and rigor for all students, and help those students reach those high expectations that we have? Also, safe and secure learning environments, that every day I send my children to school, do I have to worry about them? Do I have a system in place, right, that makes sure our staff and our students feel safe walking into that school every day and have an environment where learning can take place?
Thank you. Bob?
I would say that anybody joining a district board like this, and if you were a single issue candidate, you'd be overwhelmed at how many issues there are that we deal with. In fact, right now, Nick just hit my short list, but also there are things to look forward. The fiscal responsibility that we all hold. I take at least 3 views of the budget every week, not every week, every meeting, prepping for it, and try to find questions to ask regarding where that spending is going. Also, there are things like, and Nick, I got a credit with this one, moving forward, we invested in solar panels on 2 pilot buildings. Now, who knows with the upheaval going on federally, whether or not it will still be cost effective, but we've gotten some very good results in that the federal and state gave incentives for us to make it cost effective. These are things that we look at to help make it possible for taxpayers to get a little relief. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah?
I would say, again, going through this campaign and being in different spaces with the board members up here, I've learned that it definitely is not a single issue. But however, what drove me and motivated me to want to run was looking at the 54 Promise Initiative by the district, and there's one of the goals around closing the achievement gap for all students, and looking at the data around that both pre-COVID and post-COVID, is that a lot of our student subgroups, so students with low-income students, Black students, Hispanic students, are performing significantly below non-low-income students, our white and Asian students. And while I want all of our students to be successful, I think it's really important to focus on those subgroups. And so that's the issue I'm focusing on. I think how it affects the constituents is that we want our students not only to, again, stay in school and graduate, but they can go on to earn degrees, get jobs in the community, and also return back to the community to hopefully serve on a board one day or serve the community in other ways. So that's the issue I'm focused on, but wanting all of our students to achieve.
Great, thank you. Oh, yes, Bob has a rebuttal, so we'll have 30 seconds.
I just want to point out that we are very aware of some of the gaps, achievement gaps that exist, and we have been working on it for as long as I've been on the board. And Sarah is absolutely correct. It's there. It has decreased a little bit. I got the latest statistics, but I'm not going to have enough time to share them with you right now. But if anybody would like them, I've got the latest. I, in fact, have done a little research on it. See me after the meeting or send me an email. I'll share it with you. Thank you. The right sign there. Okay.
All right, our next question, Jim's going to go first. What are the biggest strengths of District 54? Microphone.
I think I need more than 30 seconds to answer that, but.
Wait, no, you get a minute.
I think I need more than 60 seconds, but here's what I want to share. I think District 54 is really good at picking wonderful employees, wonderful teachers, wonderful staff. I think we're the best in the state, okay? And secondarily, I think we're awesome at developing our staff. And happy staff and happy teachers are really good for our students. So that's particularly what, I think that's probably our strength is our people. And I've noted this many times publicly, but we promote from within. So when you go to our board meetings and you see somebody getting promoted from the teacher rank to assistant principal, and assistant principal to principal, and principal to director, and director to assistant soup, okay, this is from the strength of our district. We professionally develop these people to be leaders. They're awesome people, so I'm particularly proud of that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move down to Nick.
Yeah, I second that, Mr. President. So our staff, number one, a team that works, a strong board team. We have two former school board members in the audience, Mr. Van Dyke and Ms. Kegrice, who laid that foundation. We have Ms. Hangles and Ms. Presnick, who are here too, who showed us, through years of service, what it looks like. So that strong board team, that's not about me and my agenda, right? But what is about our making 54 that gem of the community, why people come to our community. Major reasons is because of these schools, right? And you need a board that works, right, that cares about the schools to make that work. Our special education populations, right? We do it in-house, and we do it right. And we have our staff that are dedicated and that work with students at all levels. One's right here today, Mr. Tracy, thanks for your work, right? And so this is what makes 54 great.
Thank you.
This is one I wish I went first on. Okay, all the things that have been mentioned already, we do a great job of trying to get the best staff we can get. It's a process that has evolved over a long time. Many of the things that we do in District 54 have been established, and Nick's already pointed out to you people that have served on the board prior and people that have come to support us. Thank you today. District 54 is known, and whenever we go at professional development or at events nationally even, it's, you're from Schaumburg. And at first I took offense to that, okay? But I have learned that that really is a compliment. And it's because of the steps we have, and we look at staff in the same way we look at any position else in the district. We try to get the best we can. And you've heard the rest, so I won't continue.
Thank you. Sarah?
I'll also add some things that weren't mentioned already. So again, the reason I moved back to Schaumburg to raise my kids here, as Jim pointed out earlier, the academics I know are so strong. I'm a product of that myself. That's how I was able to get a bachelor's, a master's degree, and doctorate of education. I think the other thing our district does well is the specialized programs and school choice. I'm actually hoping to enroll my children in the Spanish dual immersion program, so having those options. And I would say the other thing is really inclusive schools. So I know there's been a lot of work around supporting multilingual learner students. And then also mentioned earlier was the special education programs. Nick mentioned, again, as a special educator at heart, I love how inclusive the programs are. I know we have, I think, 5 nationally recognized blue ribbon schools through the Special Olympics. So there's A lot of great things. I'll leave one or two more for Debbie to answer.
This is perfect, I only have two more. Accessibility, I will say that we have ways that parents and families can come with compliments and with concerns. We have a district citizens advisory committee that meets every month. I was on that when mine were in school. We have open board meetings where people will come with public comment. We get concerns, knocks on board members' doors or through email, and our superintendent is available to talk to anyone and everyone who wants to sit down and have a comprehensive conversation. So it's a big deal. It's a culture that's built. Secondly, resource levels here, having a school psychologist and social worker at every school, having art, gym, and music. These are ways for children to be connected to the belongingness of that school, and that makes them better learners. So there are plenty of districts that have to eliminate programs like this, and we are still standing strong.
Great, thank you so much. Our next question, we're back to Nick for the first answer on this one. What are the most important challenges facing the district, and how do you plan to address them?
Yeah, great question. I think we see in this current climate that we have challenges from many levels, both the state level and federal level. And as the Daily Herald said in their endorsement, that our incumbent team is ready to meet those challenges through experience. And at the fiscal level as well, having board committees, as was brought up here today, that listen to all stakeholders and our constituents to say, hey, if we have tight budgets down the line, what do we do? What is those comments? It's up to the 7 board members at the end of the day, but we need that input, right? We need that input from all the stakeholders to make sure that we have the best learning environment that still attracts folks to our district, and makes high expectations to our students, right? But at the same time, we have to do it in a financially stable way.
Thank you. Bob?
I really wish I had gotten ahead of you, by the way. But anyhow, the thing that concerns me is the unsettledness right now in knowing about our funding without, and I'm not trying to be political here at all, but the environment that we're facing, Title I, Title IX money, many of our federal funds, and people will sit there and say, well, we don't get much federal funds. We don't compared to, what other districts get, but it's about $10 million in our budget. So money for the special ed title programs would really hurt us. That's at least $10 million right there, I think. And then there's other monies that come in for some of our other programs that really assist our students in having the experiences they can have. However, if that money comes through in another fashion, we don't know. And I guess that's the thing. Just like my investments, we'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
Thank you. Sarah?
I was going to talk about a similar topic to that. So I think the other potential challenges in the future, one is around, I know just that there's a national teacher shortage, and I know teachers love District 54 and want to come here, and it's a very popular district. But I think thinking about teacher recruitment, and then also from the lens of as we have an increased population of multilingual language students, how are we thinking about teachers being dual certified, to be able to support those students, or how are we making sure that they are getting training and support once they're in the district? And then the other thing that I would say is an opportunity, not a challenge, but I know within the next 4 years, my understanding is that we'll be having to probably hire a new superintendent. So just starting to think about what is that going to look like as we think about building a new strategic plan. Is that happening before the hiring and after the hiring, in collaboration with the community and all of those pieces? So again, not a challenge necessarily, but definitely an opportunity and something to be thinking about.
Thank you. Debbie?
Maybe not an active challenge, but a general challenge. I've had the opportunity to go to both of our state and national conferences the last few years. And when you see the popular sessions that are offered, one big theme out there is school safety. It's difficult to talk about, and when I go into those sessions, I think, my goodness, thank goodness this has been a safe district to date. That being said, we have been proactive in a recent school safety audit and really looking at people, process, and technologies, training staff, taking a look at the policies in place, and really having some new monitoring and access technology that will allow immediate notification through all schools immediately to the local police departments. We don't want to think about these things, but everyone should feel very good that we are in a strong position proactively, and again, we pray for everyone's safety.
Thank you. Jim?
I remember about 35 years ago, there was a book called Good to Great. And District 54 is great, but to maintain greatness, it takes a lot of work and effort. And I'm really confident in the team that we have, some in the audience, some sitting by the table here. We've got tremendous experience, and we overcame COVID, which was miserable. And I can see some people in the audience here. We had some really tough evenings, okay, and we overcame, and we won. And our students are exceeding right now the proficiency levels from 2019. They're exceeding those levels today. So our district is phenomenal. We're going to keep working, shooting great. But I'm going to echo what was said shortly before me, but teacher shortages are a continuing challenge. But I do want to note that we have a 92% retention rate amongst our teachers, and 90% of our teachers and staff are very satisfied in their current jobs. So, and we also attend 23 job fairs throughout the state. That is our challenge, and we're on top of it, is teacher shortages. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our final question now, starting with Bob. No, sorry. Yeah. What must be the top 3 budget priorities over the next 2 years?
I'm trying to think in the order I would take them. One of the things that we do well is we have a 10-year maintenance program. However, coming up is a 10-year spot of HVAC systems in a great many of our aging schools that will come about. That's going to be a budget item for sure. Keeping up with the 21-to-1 ratio on teachers to students will be a challenge for us, because we have not only classroom instruction, we have supportive coaches and assistants throughout the districts for behavior and other things that we try to handle. Also, having psychologists and social workers in every building is something that is kind of unusual for an elementary district. So these items will put stressors on the budget, besides inflation, which, just like you, when the eggs cost that much, and when you gotta buy cars and vehicles, it doesn't end just in the home. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sarah?
I think what I think stamp, like, right, I've heard about the aging infrastructure. I know one of the questions the teacher union asked, at least me, during those interviews was around, a plan around that. So I know infrastructure is a big thing. I know there's a big renovation happening right now at Lincoln Prairie. I think the other thing that would be a top priority is, and just keep in mind, teacher salaries. We have really great, strong teachers, and they are getting paid well and need to continue to get paid well, as well as they get more years of experience. So similar, like inflation's going up, their salaries need to keep going up. And then our early childhood program district, I know it's so popular. There's not enough room as there is, but it's also a very expensive program. And also our special education supports, those are expensive supports to make sure our students are performing and continuing to perform well. So those, I think, would be the things for me that I would be keeping in mind. Again, I do not have experience that the 4 members up here do have, but I definitely learning from them about how they are thinking about managing the budget and making sure those are priorities while also keeping us debt free. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie?
Yes, I have to repeat, I would say that facilities, that those maintenance plans are very important so that we don't have, some very significant issue from a break fix standpoint. Teachers and the salary schedule and balancing that to be an attractive district for teachers to spend their entire career here with fiscal management. And then there's those external forces like bus transportation. There was a big challenge there over the last few years, and we have a great relationship, but to be the largest school district in Illinois and to require that many buses, we have very few companies that can actually work with us. So these are external forces that we don't have control of.
Thank you. Jim?
I think to do everything that we do and serve excellently, we really need to continue to fiscally manage our money that we have. And as was noted earlier, we're just finishing up the Lincoln Prairie rebuild, if you will, and the building really needed it. We've expanded a couple of schools that needed it, but I think we've done a really good job of maintaining our buildings through the years. We're very fiscally prudent. You know, we've got reserves that are about 5 months, and I noted in yesterday's paper, they talked about the state of Illinois had like 1 month of reserves. We have about 5 months of reserves. And so we pay for Lincoln Prairie out of reserves, and once that's paid for, we're gonna be back in the black, so I'm pretty proud of that. So being fiscally prudent allows us to fund what we need to do in the classrooms. That's our biggest challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Yeah, I agree with the, Mr. Pye on that fact. So my 3 priorities, number 1, classroom resources. That's where the dollars should be located first and foremost. We have here today my friend and neighbor Nadia, who's an EL teacher. Thanks for all the work you do at Collins, right? And having someone who's EL certified and having to be able to speak Ukraine. I mean, this is what makes 54 great. Putting our dollars in the classroom, right? Making sure, number 2, making sure that we have warm, safe, cool, dry infrastructure. We don't have water leaking in on our classrooms, right? We're spending those dollars to keep up our buildings. And finally, safe and secure facilities. You know, Mr. Pye mentioned that safety audit, right? We took it seriously. We know there's an investment with that, and we have to budget those dollars for that investment and make it a priority.
Thank you. Rebuttal.
I believe, you know, I'm a former coach, I don't want to leave any timeouts anywhere. So I just wanted to add that the history of our board, and will be the same if I'm elected again, with my people that have been on the board, we have some protocols if we had to tighten up the budget, and it would be, as Nick mentioned, student-centered first. I mean, we can do without paint on some things for a little while, we can stretch it, but I want everybody to be rest assured that if cuts are needed, they would be not impacting the students.
Thank you.
Hopefully.
We have another rebuttal. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I wasn't basketball, I was baseball, so the mound visits now are a little bit less time, right? So, just wanted to say the importance of listening to stakeholders when we make these cuts, right? So, thanks to Ms. Barb Quinn, who's here today, and the PTA, and all the work she's done, so listening to those PTA folks, and understanding how parents and students are affected by these budget decisions.
All right, thank you. Any other rebuttals? All right, I think we've just scratched the surface here. But now our time dictates that we must move on to our closing statements. You'll each have 1 minute, and we'll begin with Sarah.
Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you for the League of Women Voters for hosting this. I've selected, I believe there's a unique perspective that I would bring. One, I'm a parent of a young family, and my kids are not even in the district yet, but they will be soon. They'll be there for at least the next 12 years, so I have an ongoing investment into how our schools are performing. I also believe I will be coming in with fresh eyes. Again, I'm not aware of how decisions have been made historically and traditionally, so I can be that voice of just asking, why do we do it this way, or like, what might be other ways to try that, and asking that from the lens of like, just improvement and curiosity, not from like disagreement. And then I think the other thing, while I don't have board experience, I do have a holistic view of education from being a former special education teacher and also an education professional now working with districts across 8 different states. So I know the challenges districts face. I have experience in collaborating with districts to develop policies and programs to improve outcomes for students. So again, I hope that you like what you heard today. I think everyone up here is great, but I'm excited to be running. I ask for your vote on April 1st. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Debbie.
Thank you again to the League of Women Voters. This was a great conversation today. I hope all of you got a sense of who each of us are, and again, I stand behind my transparency and my authenticity. You can look throughout the Northwest suburbs and see various cultures on school boards, and ours is very special. That's what I will say. To grow this culture takes time and mutual respect between us. There are sometimes calls after a board meeting or after a difficult discussion to make sure that our relationships are strong and we're ready to step back into the boardroom again. So please give us one more chance to show us, the 4 of us, show you for the next 4 years that we can stand as a team and really continue top tier education. As possible threats reveal themselves, whether they come our way or not, we are ready and we are practiced. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
It's so fun to be here. I love people, and it's important that we're very transparent with the public here, so I'm glad that you have this event. I'm honored to serve as president. I'm honored that there's at least 3 former presidents of the board in the audience here today, 2 in the audience and 1 sitting up at one of the tables. I've learned from each one of them. I'm honored that we have former board members and current board members in the audience. They want to support the team. So I think there's 6 of the board members today. We've got a fantastic board. I'm honored to serve as president. I'm honored to serve as vice president. I'm honored to turn the gavel over to the next president, whoever that is. And I'm one of 7. And the way we practice, there's no I in team. So again, I'm honored to be part of the team. And it's not just on Jim Pye, it's we. So again, thanks for creating this event, and let's go enjoy the beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Once again, thank you so much to the league for having these events. You know what's special about this board, and I haven't seen it since my library board days with Julie and Bob Frankel and Bob Lyons and Debbie Miller and Ruth Jonan. Political left and right doesn't matter at this board. It's about what's best for our community and what's best for our schools and our students, right? And making sure we keep 54 great, right? And the strength of this team is powerful, especially as the Daily Herald said in the time of the current climate that we're facing pressure from all around, right? So we need this experience. Our educators have put the support behind our team as well too. Current parents, community groups, elected officials, we've all worked together in many ways to make 54 great. So I'm honored to have your vote, and so is our incumbent team.
Thank you. Bob, you close us.
Well, I think again, it's always fun answering after everybody's got pretty much what you were thinking. We basically do work together real well, and I got to say that all the candidates you have to choose from have outstanding credentials and would be good on any type of board. But I got to tell you, having served on enough committees in my lifetime and boards, it is a chemistry, as the Herald I think pointed out. Experience is a little different, although I have no doubt that anybody who has the credentials that SRED has would be outstanding on any board as well. As a former coach, I guess the teamwork is important. I've seen it, and we do work together real well. I'm asking that you return us to board service so we can join an existing other squad of 3 who have done yeoman work while I've been on the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much, all candidates, for your service, for your time here today. Now we're going to turn it back to Vicki for closing remarks.
Thank you, Kim. Wonderful job as usual. On behalf of the League of Women Voters and the Schaumburg Library, we want to thank all of you for coming. If any of you would like more information on the League of Women Voters, there is some information on the table in the back. And we have several League members here in the audience. League members, raise your hand, everybody. Feel free to talk to any of them if you'd like more information. We have men and women who are in the league despite the name, so you guys can feel free to join us as well. I want to thank our candidates. I do live in this district, and it's going to be a very tough decision. Now, don't forget, there are still several ways that you can cast your ballot. In-person early voting starts March 17th, and there's still time to register to vote. You have until March 16th to register online. There's plenty of information about the election, both on the table in the back and on the League of Women Voters website. So please participate in our democracy. I probably don't even need to say that to this group here, you wouldn't even be here, but spread the word. So you can find information on the League of Women Voters website and participate in our democracy by casting your ballot. Your vote is your voice.